Greetings. Gladly, there are none more faithful to the God Emperor than my sisters. We fight against his enemies by the will of the Holy Ecclesiarchy. I beg your pardon, rogue trader. Here I am, talking about what every lesser noble in the Imperium knows. So what exactly are you interested in hearing about? It is. The Sisters of Battle are a fire lit by the God Emperor. They are the echo of his voice that travels through the dark expanses of the universe. We bring his wrath to heretics, mutants, and other enemies of humanity. We protect the faithful from the unholy and unhallowed. Sometimes with words, more often than not with a bolter. Even the novices of the Adeptus Sororitas are drawn from among the most worthy. Those who have taken the vows and become a full-fledged sister are the best of the best, tested by trials of body and spirit. Yes, there have been cases when a sister stumbled or showed weakness, but do not expect to hear a story of depravity or downfall from me. Each such occurrence is a great tragedy for us all. Light cannot bear the smallest speck of darkness within. And thus those who have trespassed or shown weakness of spirit are given a chance at redemption. They are called Sisters Repentia, and may the enemy tremble before her, for nothing can stop a sister of battle who yearns to be cleansed of faults and weakness. Wearing nothing but robes, no armor, eviscerator in hand, those sisters who have once faltered find repentance on the battlefield. Their lives are seldom long, but a death in the name of purgation is a better fate than to live with a shadow in one's soul. Once I had completed my novitiate, I was sent to the Calixian branch of the Order of Our Martyred Lady, assigned to the Order's Pronatus. The Order's mission is vital and noble. The Sisters Pronatus protect great relics of the Imperium. We guard them, preserve them, escort them when they are brought onto the battlefield or presented for pilgrims to venerate. And we seek out the relics that have been lost. Neither a coven of heretics nor the most wicked death world can deter Sisters Pronatus when their goal is to return a piece of the great legacy of the Imperium into the hands of the faithful. Don't let the name deceive you. The Order's militant trains sisters to march onto the battlefield as an army. That does not make sisters who belong to the non-militant orders timid and helpless. Both the solace-bringing Sisters Hospitaller and the enlightened Sisters Dialogus know how to greet enemies of humanity. Their dialogue with heretics is usually quite short, with the last word being a bolter discharge. And my order has all the more reason to be known for the martial prowess of its sisters. We are the keepers of the Imperium's relics. What would become of our blessed hero's legacy if the Sisters Pronatus could not protect it? The Order sent me to Footfall. My undertaking was to assist the local priesthood of Drusians in caring for a sacred reliquary that had been there since the time of Parson Mr. Wayne, the station's founder. None that I'm aware of, but the Sisterhood's orders are many, and can operate independently of one another, sending their sisters wherever their presence is needed as deemed by the Ecclesiarchy. Perhaps somewhere in the Lord Inquisitor's retinue, may his path be blessed, my sisters perform their duty as we speak. I wish it were so. Even a single evening spent in joint prayer and training would bring me joy. Should any more arise, keeping them to yourself would be imprudent. It is a virtue to take an interest in holiness. About me? I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to tell about me? I first came here when I found myself in need of passage from Footfall to a remote planet. But I imagine what interests you is not that first journey, but rather what brought me aboard prior to the pirate attack. That story is complicated. It just so happened that I made a mistake. In a moment of laxity, I was ambushed by the accursed followers of the archenemy. I was badly wounded. Lady Theodora came to my aid and brought me aboard her ship, while her crew attended to me in my weakened state. It all happened not too long ago. I'd barely recovered from my wounds when the pirates struck. Truly, the servants of evil know no rest. There is no place where we can be safe from their machinations. Sadly, they did not. Lady Theodora was in a hurry and chose not to stay on the planet. Her people took me to a ship while I was unconscious, and when I came to my senses, we were already flying away. How I pray to come face to face with those heretics once more, and it's bound to happen someday. It happens even to the best of us. My mistakes are my burden to bear. I'll find a way to atone for them. On one of the recently discovered planets in the Expanse, no one suspected that it had already been tainted by the filth of heresy. Had I known it beforehand, of course I would have been on my guard. The path to that planet was lost. All the knowledge is gone, along with the previous navigator. It would take immense effort and resources to rediscover the route. The heir to the von Valanci's protectorate must have plenty of other issues to deal with right now. Perhaps later, when the skies above our heads have cleared. I hadn't been here that long. Just one journey from Footfall, and the other journey, the majority of which I spent in the confines of the medbay. I can't tell you much about the first voyage. I was more focused on prayers and ruminations than on the people around me, or the journey itself. During the last journey, Seneschal Viserion stood out for me. He came by several times to ask about my health. He's an honorable man and a loyal servant of the Imperium. I think he is as meticulous in his inspections of the logistics systems as he is in his inquiries about the health of the occasional sister of battle aboard the ship. But not all of Theodora's people have earned my trust. You know who I'm talking about. There is no place for Adira Tlas among the God Emperor's faithful. I'm surprised she wasn't in league with the pirates. And I'm equally surprised by how deep heresy and treason run in this place. I'm glad we all made it through that dark hour. May the day that follows be bright. As you wish. This ship was targeted by heretical pirates, which means that my presence here and the assistance I provide to you are my sacred duty. Sooner or later, I will likely have to return to Footfall to protect its reliquary. But for now, I wish to remain a part of the rogue trader's crew. So they shall.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations. I am a part of House Orselio, an ancient dynasty of the Navis nobility. Since time immemorial, our family has served to advance knowledge, pushing at the boundaries of the dark unknown. The Starway Atlas contains 2,843 routes that chart the sectors of the Segmentum Obscurus and reach all the way from the Coronis Expanse to Holy Terra, and uniting the Imperium's thousands of worlds. House Orselio is bound by commercial pacts to houses Galeatis, Ortina, Drotus, and... There is a dark blue knot tightening on your neck, Lord Captain. I can see my reply is not satisfying your thirst for knowledge. What is it you desire to hear exactly? You wish to know about me? I suppose I can help you with that. What would you like to know? Hardly. According to the chronicles of the house, I was born on one of the Orcelio worlds. Oh, what was it? Please forgive me, Lord Captain. My childhood memories are too vague. Sometimes I dream about the colorful birds that built their nests in the garden, or the servants dressed in purple livery, or the blue fog that rolled over the lowlands behind the palace. But everything is covered in a rosy haze. Perhaps it is my imagination, not my memory, that is painting these pictures. My stay on the station was wholly dedicated to preparing me for my future duty. Astromancy, astrography, numerology, the histories of my house and the Imperium, as well as other disciplines. For many years, dozens of instructors tirelessly prepared me for my destiny. And once a year, Great Regent Alronto would come to the station. He would entrust his beautiful vessel to my command, so that I could master the practical aspects of our art as well. The Regent gave me a bird from a sunlit planet once. I tried to befriend it and make it sing, but for some reason, it refused, and died soon after. The instructors were too respectful of my duty to my house to waste precious time on idle chatter. Aside from them, there were only servants on the station, and you know they have their vocal cords removed, so they cannot break their vow of silence. And since the subject has been breached, Lord Captain, why do you not follow this honored tradition? Your decks are so garish. Apologies, I meant noisy. The rabble don't just chatter. Sometimes they shout and even sing. Why do you allow such a lack of restraint? Rogue traders are highborn, are they not? Please forgive me, Lord Captain. I was sure it was a sacred tradition made sacrosanct by the ancient vows of obedience. I expect more surprises will be waiting for me outside the walls of Urac 5. The Navigator's open eye is baneful to whoever the warp's ruinous shine falls upon, and therefore it is the symbol of our power. We are the guiding stars of humanity, found worthy of an uncommon gift, and one of the duties that we bear is to guard our eye, even from wayward glances that may bear evil. Besides, I am aware that lesser servants of the Imperium may find our appearance repulsive. The Navigator gene twists the features the rabble are used to seeing, and the magnificence of our role cannot be grasped by their feeble minds. You are much too kind to me, Lord Captain. Allow me, for my part, to note the beauty of your shoulders? Yes, your shoulders. Pray let us change the subject. It may be difficult to describe. You see, every navigator perceives the warp differently. My mentor, Great Regent Alronto, always described his travels through the Immaterium as a journey through a vast wood with countless paths. And I, assisting him in the first voyages, futilely tried to follow his example. But the wood would not reveal itself to me. But everything changed when I found my own key to this mystery. You see, I've always brightened up my rare moments of leisure time by painting. You may recall there was a workshop in my chambers. As soon as I imagined the warp as a blank canvas, an indescribable feeling came over me. I moved the brush, going deeper and deeper into my own painting. Visions were hidden within the vibrant colors of my palette, and something inside me knew which should be brought out and which should be left behind. I woke up several days later, after the voyage was safely complete. The Emperor graced me with a gift, I can see inner life in addition to the mundane. You cannot know that a fruit has rotten from the inside until a blade slices it in two. I can see the rot from far away. It roils like swamp mud, oozing through the bright peel. Anger and boredom, sadness and joy. Everything that people shut away inside themselves is revealed to me like colors on the canvas of my world. You will hear no objection from me, Lord Captain. As the only voice of our family on this vessel, it is an honor. As long as your questions are courteous, I will answer every one of them. You are shrewd indeed. My ancestor charted that route while fleeing the enemies of humanity. They say the Emperor himself was his guide, because the warp expelled their vessel without a single loss. Unfortunately, the lips of those who relate this tale seep with disgusting green hubris. I think Colleen Orselio was simply a skilled navigator. Oh, yes. The navigators of the House came to the Coronis Expanse fairly recently, a mere 208 years ago. Before that, our ancestors expanded the borders of humankind's dominion for the glory of the Emperor, blazing trails to different corners of the galaxy. Just as a rogue trader stands at the head of a protectorate, a Novator heads a navigator house. It is the Novator who decides where to look for alliances and which path their bloodline is destined to tread. As for our house, the transfer of power to a successor is currently underway. In the meantime, Great Regent Auronto Orselio is ensuring the stability of the house. So, says Regent Auronto. Nothing is decided yet. Some people in the house become enshrouded in rolling gray clouds at the thought of me becoming the Novator. But even more are bound with dull leaden chains. They think I am not ready for such a burden. By all means. Sister Argenta shines like a guiding star, inspiring resolve in those around her, seemingly inexplicably. However, I see a dark and ugly fog billow behind her, contrasting sharply with her shining light. It burdens the Sister of Battle. It drags her down. Yet Argenta herself is hardly aware of it. Seneschal Viserion is among the few whose colors are a pleasure to look at. Whenever the Seneschal speaks, heavenly crystal clarity spreads around him. And whenever he is angered, dark blue clouds condense over him. And in his rare moments of joy, a pure gleam of sunset pink caresses the souls of those near him. Out of your entire retinue, Lord Captain, he is the only one I would trust with my life. The esteemed Magos Haneman is shattered, like a beautiful stained glass window into a mosaic of colors. His bright, beckoning hues are mixed together in complete disarray. I must confess, it perplexes me. Normally, scarlet and steel are all that fills the heart of a servant of the Omnissiah. Behind the cobalt steel of his thoughts, behind the cold, faded gray of his emotions, an ember, the color of amber, glows in Master Van Kalox's soul. So bright and warm, one is tempted to touch it. It is sad that the interrogator seeks to drown it with his own hands in the bottomless blue of duty. Sad indeed, but I can relate. Idira's emotions are like a maelstrom, bright, unbridled, enveloping her form like a wondrous kaleidoscope of colors. And as dangerous as a twisting warp storm. The riot of colors hides the truth from my eyes. What exactly is driving this woman? Is it her own will, or is it the Immaterium, Lord Captain? I have enjoyed your company. Thank you for the conversation.
I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world, Guizorn 3. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After that, I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium. I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Guizorn 3 when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the Black Ship. Like many psykers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. My great-aunt had a pet grink. One day, it bit me, and I boiled it from inside out. And when my great-aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too. When I arrived on Holy Terra and was tested, I was found to be suitable material for becoming a sanctioned psyker, able to bend his curse to his own will. I can assure you that the adepts of the Astra Telepathica were right in their assessment. Picture a vast prison ship, filled with frightened, angry psykers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers. Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echo of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall that episode to this day. No. First, I was accorded the status of a psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterward that I became an agent of the Golden Throne. Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte. So, decades. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. When I return from a journey through the warp, I often discover that much more or much less time has passed in real space. Indeed, I have visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light, and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greatest of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terra, the might of Mars, the grandeur of the segment's other worlds. You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you? The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the processes of their own body, including aging. I've endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today. Gladly. Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises dozens of people. The best of the best. Experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally. Others I have never met. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Coronis Expanse, I have been working alone. I had never even considered such a thing before you asked. Perhaps I do. Sometimes. Your concern for my needs, Lord Captain, is extremely unexpected. Would you like to remedy my deficit of personal interaction? I would not be opposed to a pleasant conversation, if you can find the time. We are not a retinue. We are acolytes. As for your question, I am closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne. Such as? The Lord Inquisitor was most insistent that I master the discipline of Santic Demonology. I use my faith and my power to crush the enemies of the Imperium. Servants of Chaos tremble at the sound of the Emperor's name, uttered by my lips. I am also a skilled biomancer. I can manipulate bodily processes. Sometimes I resort to those skills in the course of my work, when it is necessary to make the subject of an interrogation more cooperative.
Lord Captain? Lord Captain.
What are you talking about, Lord Captain? Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship. And my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have. It was just my nerves playing up. Something about our little saint doesn't sit right with me, and I trust my gut. Oh sure, she seems straight as an arrow and as predictable as a hangover after drinking. But when I look at her, something about her makes my brain itch. After that conversation, I tried to listen to what was being said about her. Beyond the door, what I heard was strange. Blood in her past, twilight in her present, and something like a star leading her. But where is it leading her? I saw several roads, and all of them frightened me. If I knew, I would have told you. Hearing things clearly requires cooperation from the other person, you know. But that cobra just hisses and spits its venom at me. I don't trust her one bit. Oh yeah, you go ahead and tell her the wicked Psyker has divined something about her. She'll be so pleased and grateful, and of course she'll listen to what you have to say. No, that would be pointless. And anyway, I'm not even sure what it all means. Maybe the danger is to her, or maybe the danger's coming from her. Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best. It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me. But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention. It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right? Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra. There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me, for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time. Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. As I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered the guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so I entered the service of the von Valancius dynasty. A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can, after some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy. Of course, Lord Captain. You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrived at the place, and what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star. Lord Captain, forgive me, but it would be like talking to a person born blind about colors. I could spend hours explaining, but it wouldn't make any sense to you. Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it. Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow. Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me, I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight. Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster. All right, that's what I'm here for after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now. All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you, Another road. The road begins at the threshold of the expanse and leads to the bowels of the emerging world. Reading the threads of fate is not meant for you, slave of the enthroned corpse. Step into the embrace of doom, for thus was it preordained by the architect of fates. That wasn't me! I swear on everything that's holy, I don't know what the second road is or who watches over it, but I beg you, stay away from it! All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you, An ancient world with a riven heart. Find the path to it, and its riches will be yours. But paths there are two, and both will cloak you in disgrace, and neither is what it seems. What will you choose, rogue trader? The fall of the Empyrean, or the fall of the dead gods? In the cradle of your ancestors, a black dragon hungers, cunning and spitting venom. Many paths lead from home, but only one leads back to it, black and full of sorrow. When you start along the path, make haste. Make haste. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now... None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well. Not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off that if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Only when I was asked. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lady von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice. The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices. Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head. Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagus Amanat, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from sacred dogma. He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge. The blessed Amanat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain law, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things. My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated, that ritual is now nothing but a cage for souls and forced worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all humanity at the end of it. Those who have ascended to the Omnissiah's wisdom still bear the seed of imperfection, born of their flesh. But the ambitions of individuals mean little when we discuss ritual and belief. Knowledge is divine, and any argument as to how it must be reached is an argument of ritual and belief. The teachings of the blessed Amanat spread, and word of it reached the conclave of the Cognizant Fleet. They recognized his teachings as tech heresy. Many tech priests suddenly vanished or were subjected to servo penance for minor transgressions. The students of Amanat, whose number included many enlightened and respected brothers, resisted. My prognosis showed that our most likely future was a schism and a fratricidal war that would destroy the Cognizant Fleet. That was when I headed to the Conclave. I confessed and handed the information about my mentor's research over to the Conclave. Brazen, anathematic studies of the Forbidden Law. The Conclave could use that data to summon Archmagos Amonat to stand trial and compel him to repent on pain of excommunicate Traitoris. His subsequent fate is unknown to me. I pray that the Omnissiah grants us wisdom to overcome the dialectic differences that divide us. I was summoned there by a message that was encrypted with the Blessed Amonat's personal code, and could it be interpreted in several ways. One thing was certain: we were in danger, and I had to go to Owlcat Minoris. I never met him, but I think he was a person of worth. The phrase that came from his lips indicates he was in contact with my mentor. I preserved his cortical implant and absorbed the information it contained. However, the large amounts of data memories are encoded with a cipher yet unfamiliar to me. I was wrong when I assumed it was the blessed Archmagos Amonat who assumed the guise of Abel Haneman. But there is a connection between him and the Reverend Abel, and I intend to uncover the nature of this link. Acknowledged. I will return to ruminating on the search for the Blessed Amonat. The request is approved. I have no outright restrictions on disclosing this information. Information about my origins is worthless. I belong to the priesthood of explorators and came to the Coronis Expanse over 200 years ago. Any events preceding that moment are insignificant. I was honored to become a member of the Explorator Cognizance Fleet. When the Adeptus Mechanicus summoned the faithful for an exploratory venture into the depths of the Coronis Expanse, I joined the fleet in fulfillment of my sacred vows of comprehension. After I betrayed Archmagos Amonat, the fleet conclave directed me to the orbital station, Alter Templum Calixus EXT-17, for penance. This venerable temple station was founded in the early years of our expansion into the Coronis Expanse. It is currently a rear observation post of the Cognizance fleet in orbit around the star Furibundus. The sacred fraternity of explorers. The Cult Mechanica sends us out to the frontiers of the known sectors as researchers and conquerors. We are the warriors of the Code, who return to the lost worlds and devote themselves to recovering the lost ancient knowledge. Explorators are granted the privilege of being more independent than many of our tech comrades. However, it has earned us a reputation as unstable and poorly controlled troublemakers whose unorthodox views are dangerously close to apostasy. They are my younger brothers and guides on the way to the Omnissiah. Their machine spirits are directly bound to my neocortex and pick up impulses from my subconscious. Sometimes they act ahead of my thoughts. This is how the Omnissiah leads me to comprehension. Acknowledged. I am honored to belong to the priesthood of Mars. Guided by its tenets, we safeguard technology against the impure and the unenlightened. That is where the cult of the Omnissiah originated, and where we were granted the first revelations. Many millennia ago, we made an alliance with the Emperor of Terra, and have served the Imperium ever since, paying a tribute to machinery, weapons, and void ships. Everything that bears the blessed seal of machinery comes from our hands. And it is we who make sure the operating rituals are performed as they were meant to. We are everywhere. We are the Mars-forged steel bars that give the Imperium strength. It is both a treasure and a secret. Technology is how the divinity of the Omnissiah manifests itself in this world. This is why the uninitiated may only be allowed to touch the most vulgar and mundane of its instances. We, on the other hand, are authorized to use the sacred catechism of maintenance and operation. Although there is another reason to deny lay people the sacrament of knowledge, it can be dangerous. Twisted by renegades, the Omnissiah's wisdom is called heretic, and the exposure to it may corrupt the uninitiated. Another danger is knowledge strangely interpreted and inscrutably twisted by the minds of the Xenos. This bane is called xenotech. This statement is true. What many consider chains on our way to comprehension is our armor, which we have inherited from our wisdom-blessed predecessors. This electu indicates that I am a Magos, who has mastered the sacraments of many spheres of knowledge, and has the right to conduct services in a forged cathedral. He is the divine mechanism, the maker of technology. The universe was made to resemble a mechanical marvel because the Omnissiah rules over it. Knowledge is the highest form that he uses to manifest in the world. For now. Someday, he will come to this world in the absolute fullness of his splendor. The Adeptus Mechanicus worshipped the Emperor. He is the earthly manifestation of the Omnissiah, who brought humanity into the light of divine grace. Organic tissue is an imperfect replica of the machine, transient and vulnerable. Metal is more stable, more effective, and more durable. Flesh speak is flawed next to biheric language. Meat begets weakness. It softens the mind and undermines discipline. But you can replace metal when it wears down. In addition, a machine is a supreme form of knowledge, and by assuming mechanical form, we become closer to the Omnissiah. However, like all things sacred, our augmentations must not be defiled by the eyes of the ignorant, which is why we reveal only the crudest of tools, while holier mechanisms remain concealed beneath our crimson robes. Not a superstition, a gracious truth. Partially true. I had a voice modulator implanted alongside the respiratory purification module, but there is an additional reason. Gothic is not my first language. I am used to thinking and making statements in lingua technis. The binaric language is more informative, more ergonomic, and less prone to misinterpretation. Acknowledged. May your labors be effective and fruitful.
newcomers! How's this for a warm welcome?
I'll make an example out of you.
I will take you down. Hold on.
My ears are ringing.
Damage to bulk.
Let's make it quick.
We endure. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. Doubt is for the weak.
Let's get to it.
Don't touch me.
If I may,
Cleanses the body.
Anything else?
Time to slaughter someone. Soul shall become like fire.
The scriptural prognosis is favorable. Request approved. Function successfully terminated. Running binary override.
if not me. On it. I'll see to it, personally.
Victory is imminent. We'll rule the stars themselves. At your beck and call. A tactically sound approach.
I am ready for whatever comes.
They who discern the future on the battlefield. That is not my destiny. What an unfortunate turn of fate. Was that you? Or...
I took care of this one. I will do my duty. Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. It will be done. My place is at the fore.
Hold on.
From the ashes I will rise.
Let's make it quick.
I can handle this.
Brace yourself, Abelard.
I should have foretold that.
I'm not accustomed to being clad in scarlet. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Request approved. The scriptural prognosis is favorable. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
I'll make it happen.
afraid not. Another foe painted black.
Who, if not me?
Will do. Farewell.
High momentum.
On it.
I've seen worse battles than this in my time. Indeed.
Is there money to be made? Rise to the top, or get left in the dust. I know how to take risks. Let us not dawdle. Always keep your eye on the prize. That's how it's done. Success is the only outcome I accept. I always get the job done. This could be an opportunity. I always keep my options open. I will lead us to fortune. Is there money to be made?
Every time I come here, I nearly go deaf. The sounds of the past assault my ears. Trumpets of glory interrupted by the rustling of rags and the clinking of coins above everything else.
Yeah, this place is turning me nearly deaf as well. And that's without sorcerous voices in my head. If it's not swearing, it's merchants shouting or gunshots. It's the same wherever one goes on footfall.
Operation successful.
Success is the only outcome I accept. Keep your wits about you. That's how it's done.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
This explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
I always have a backup plan.
The whispers told me how.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
The Emperor favors me today.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Compared to naval service, that was barely a challenge.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Can I fall back now? My prescience has failed me.
A mere pain won't stop me. Let us not dawdle.
I've suffered worse.
Flesh is weak, yet iron knows no pain. Your fire trajectory is suboptimal.
Join me in prayer.
The whispers call to me.
Catch my breath. Keep your wits about you. Is there money to be made? I always keep my options open. I always have a backup plan. Always keep your eye on the prize.
An expected result.
Let us not dawdle.
Experience. Nothing matters more.
Do you see that?
Operation successful. The machine god grants me insight.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
Nothing escapes my sight.
Keep your wits about you.
Duty prevails.
I always keep my options open.
We should deal with this.
I always have a backup plan. Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Isn't this a job for the serfs? I am a navigator, not a servant. As duty demands. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
just a minor setback.
Rejoice in battle! As the Emperor commands, I act.
But of course. Was that you? Or...
I won't compromise my principles. On it.
Faith without deed.
It's as good as done. I'll make it happen.
Another foe painted black.
As the Emperor commands, I act. In thy light I stand, and thy light I crave. Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands.
I know what is to come. Anything else? Will do.
I'll see to it personally.
It will be done. At your beck and call.
On it.
Victory is imminent. At your beck and call.
No! These ruby flashes are choking me! If I may.
Grey hair, sure hand. For von Valancius! I will do my duty. At your beck and call. Brace yourself, Abelard.
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone! Doubt is for the weak. Eradicated.
The scriptural prognosis is favorable. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Abelard, I've been meaning to ask, how are you keeping it together so well? Don't you ever feel awful without her?
Enough, Tlus. We have a duty to the new rogue trader. You would do well to focus on that. If you keep your mind busy, you will have less opportunity to fill it with awful things.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust. Let us not dawdle. You will beg for mercy, and I will grant none.
Show them no mercy!
Grace, at least. Isn't this a job for the first painting?
I've suffered worse.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
I'll do it. I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury. Faith without deeds. This is why I was chosen. As the Emperor commands, none can escape the Emperor's judgment. I'll do it.
How dare you!
Shields me!
As the tactical imperative dictates. Running by network override.
Let's get to it. High momentum.
I'll make it happen. It's as good as done. Who, if not me?
Anything else? If only you knew what awaits you.
Let's get to it. Here we go.
My ears are ringing.
It will be done. At your beck and call. Indeed. Target well struck. It will be done.
Hold on! Out of my way!
Be careful not to cross my gaze. I am a navigator.
Pain and duty go hand in hand. The healing is much appreciated.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak.
Advancing. My vow is to serve. The scriptural prognosis is favorable. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. Let's make it quick.
I'm not injured. I'm enraged.
High momentum.
I'll make it happen. I won't stand for it.
Faith without deeds is worthless. I am his will made manifest. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Was that you? Or... On it. There is movement in the Empyrean.
Victory is imminent. Ah, an exemplary strike. I will do my duty. Grey hair, sure hand.
Step aside. The navigator is coming. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. Isn't this a job for the serfs? Scared, yeah?
Doubt is for the weak. God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. As the Emperor commands, I act.
Running by right. Significant value. Request approved.
Show me what you've got. Such is their will.
I refuse. I won't compromise my principles. On it. I'll make it happen. Who if not me?
Indeed.
What is this foreboding?
Not this Greyer's job.
Follow my lead. At your beck and call.
High momentum.
If I may? I am a navigator, not a servitor. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Activate calculated fury algorithm. My vow is to serve. The Omnissiah condemns you.
Your end was inevitable. Is there money to be made?
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
I always have a backup plan. This explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
spectatis.
Nefas.
Stare. Fire.
Molestus es.
Merite. Veni hoc.
Navetelirges.
Stare. Disperaam. Veni ad. Geractos.
Inertias.
Fire. Stare. Geractos.
Navetelirges.
Quod spectatis.
Inertias.
Merite.
Navetelirges.
Veni ad. Disperaam. Quod spectatis.
Molestus es. Operation successful.
Compared to
What
naval
a
service,
peculiar
that was
thing.
barely a challenge.
The premonition runs true.
Keep your wits about you. Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
The Kazbaraka trade backs on footfall. They're fairly blatantly at that. And the Ordo Xenos is in no hurry to rectify the situation.